Hey guys, got another video here. It's reacting to Osmongold, who is, funny enough, reacting to a channel called Moon, and basically it's just about men are slowly giving up and nobody cares. And I really enjoy videos like this because it's real world problems. It is actually happening. No matter how much the news or anywhere where you live in the world, it's not something that's ever spoken about. And I think it's so important for people to try and feel like they're not alone. And it's easy enough for me to say that, but living in the UK, I see it all the time. And for me, it's very interesting to see how it affects people in different countries. Because obviously I don't live in America. And the reason why I'm reacting to Asmongold reacting to Moon is basically because Moon's made the video and stating that men are slowly giving up and nobody cares, and for Asmongold to react to it because he says it how it is. And I've said before, to find people like that is so difficult now because people hide behind everything because they're afraid to say what they need to say, because they always say what they want to say, and they say it because that's what they want people to listen to. It's not what they want to that's not what they need to say, but it's just, yeah. So I think me reacting to it and putting my input from someone from a different country, it'd be very interesting. But like I said, I like videos like this because I can relate to it quite a lot, but I won't go into it. But it'd be interesting to see how it is in different countries.
Nobody cares? That's not true. I gave up super fast. As soon as I realized I needed to have a job, I gave up. Yes.
I'll keep going.
7 years old, I was like, I'm just not gonna make it, guys. Sorry.
Increasingly, more and more men are giving up. Giving up on relationships, careers, and society as a whole. Resentment is growing.
I will say, I did watch this a little bit. I watched it about 10 minutes. And I was like, wow. This is like going on. But like I said, I feel like it's not heard enough. And those people that feel like nobody cares, no one listens to them because they're stuck in their room, or you know what I mean, they work all their lives or work 40, 50, 60 hours a week and go back to their basic living, is how I would put it. Like waking up, going to work, and going home, and it's just that vicious cycle. And you wonder why men are like this.
This is why my stream is getting popular, by the way.
Unemployment is becoming rampant.
Yeah.
And keeping your head above water seems almost impossible for many men today.
Yeah.
This is leading to more men than ever dropping out of society entirely.
And like I said, I won't go too into it, but like I said, I can relate to this quite a lot. in personal reasons and stuff. So in that sense, it's not a comparison because everyone deals with their own things their own way. But it's interesting to see, without me giving it away, of how true it is to the word, and how big and how deep this kind of men's mental health, and women's as well, because I mean there's a lot of women that don't say nothing, how it will come true, like how let's just watch it.
And it's not just that. Men are becoming infantilized, with terms like adulting now becoming normal.
3 stages of adulting for men.
It's clear that some
it's crazy because men built everything. It's just the way it was. Men built everything, and there was places for men. But now it seems like men don't know which way to go. Men don't know how to think forward. You know what I mean? And it's crazy considering the world we live in, the technologies we have. But amongst all that, there is so much that is so destroying. And like I said, everyone takes it their own way, or how it will deter their life growing up.
Something ugly is happening that needs to be addressed. We live in such a strained, unnatural environment that is bound to start to wear on society, but men in particular are battling to keep up and are slowly giving up. Giving up on dreams, giving up on trying, and giving up on doing.
As always, like I've said before with Asmongold, I'll leave everything in the description, also for Moon for making the video. I know it seems a bit odd, me kind of like reacting to Asmongold and Asmon reacting to Moon, but like I said, I think for me it's interesting because seeing how the problem arises, or what people suffer with, or how they're dealing with it in a different country is very interesting for me, because I don't think I'll ever go to America or where people like Osmond lives and see it firsthand. So watching kind of like, for me this is more of like a it's like a documentary, but it's not, because it's about real life and people and how they're living, but it's where they're living, and it's what their country is doing to help, or if any help. And that's what fascinates me, because obviously over here in the UK it's way different. It's really different, and I know what's happening here, but it's interesting to hear from Asmon's input on just how fucked everything is.
Anything constructive, and for a large part it's really not their fault, as this trend isn't just a personal struggle but a societal issue that we must urgently address. So why is this happening, and why has it gotten so bad in 2024?
It's gonna keep getting worse, by the way. And here's another reason why it's getting worse, is that in like 1950, if you were a dumb guy, you could be like, alright, well, I don't really know what state I live in or how to spell my name, but I can put a bolt in a car
or drive a tractor,
and I own a house.
Yeah, it's the simple things. Now it's like so complicated. You need access to the internet permanently, all the time. You need that connection. But like you said, in the 50s, 60s, and my dad is 70, so I can relate. Because he said a lot. He said so much, and my dad's not connected to the internet. He doesn't have a phone. He doesn't have any involvement in the internet. He's a very a down to earth guy, but because he wasn't grown up with any of this, he has no involvement in it. So listening to his input is true. People couldn't read or write, but they could drive a tractor. That's kind of where that phrase come from. And for some people, that was absolutely fine. And it's the same as he's saying. Like, you know what I mean? He might not know his own name, but he could put a bolt in a car. Like, who cares? Now, jeez.
That's a big fucking difference.
On the surface,
That's a huge
it's a long and
difference.
complicated story. Life has never been simple for any human, and objectively speaking, for men in the West today, it's never been better. We have all the technology we need, food delivered to your door with the tap of a
Yep.
finger, dating
True.
readily available to anyone with a simple swipe. Any products item
And this is exactly what I meant. This is the future. So I've got kids, and this is normal, and it scares the shit out of me because I didn't have this growing up. Do I feel like this is necessary? No, because even people in the 80s, before all this, in the very early 90s, before all this technology, they still were able to go out, do their shopping, get food, and there were places for people to meet people. But now it seems like it don't matter what ideas you got. Someone will make money somewhere, and I think that's the crown. That's it. That's what's on top, is making money. It doesn't matter how someone does it. It's absolutely crazy. But whatever makes people's lives easier, I guess they'll just do it. And if that involves paying, like for us, it's delivery charges. Is obviously like being English is a couple of pounds or whatever, American dollars for, I don't know, DoorDash, or I don't know what they have over there. I'm guessing Deliveroo maybe, but I guess it seems now that people just pay because it's easier. It's crazy. I guess also people say, oh, I liked it when it was simple times. Oh, I liked it when I was back in my day. Everything was simple, everything was better. But then you go ask people born in the last 10 years, and they'll say, oh yeah, but everything's easy now. Everything's easy. And it's just like
Well, it's not really readily available, right? I mean, because like if you're an ugly guy, you've got a really hard. It's hard for you to be able to meet anybody. I mean,
yeah, it's true what he's saying. But where are you if you're not at work? Where are you with all this technology? You're at home. You're at home looking on your phone for a plan for your future. Whether it's a partner, whether it's buying a house, it's on your phone. I think people will come into some sort of conclusion that this whole face-to-face talking thing will just become non-existent. And it's so scary. I mean, even during COVID, I became the teacher for 18 months, I think it was, for my kids. And then it was homework on the computers. So, am I missing something here? Yeah, I do see the good points of technology. I really do. But I prefer... Personally, I like it the old way. You know what I mean? But obviously, COVID, no one can do nothing about COVID. It's just what happened. But this technology stuff is It's crazy. But everyone's at home. Everyone's looking down all the time. And I think we've moved so far forward, so quick, that simple like things like talking to your neighbor anyway, like over the fence term, like is what we kind of say over here. I don't even remember when I did that. Like, I really don't. Or have a full conversation. I really don't. And I'll be honest, I use WhatsApp. I use video call. I video call with my brothers. Is that kind of defeating the purpose? I mean, the technology's there, so I guess we can use it. But it's not something I like to do. I do prefer meeting in person. But it's just that speed of time is crazy.
And I feel like that's definitely a factor. 100% a factor.
Or experiences that you want can be had with the tap of your phone. But over time, all of these comforts of life destroys the importance and necessity of struggle. Without any value placed on higher goals, where there just is no reason to care, means there's no reason.
Well, the reason why a lot of guys, I think, don't care is because they don't see a path to happiness and a path to success. Like, there's no longer the idea that you can work hard and you can be guaranteed success.
Yeah, it for here, like I said earlier, knowing what it's like here in the UK to anywhere else, you are so like trying to think of the best way to put it. Not persuaded, but you are told and told and told again, do more hours, work. And what the pattern you start to see is people will see the benefits of you working, but it's not for your benefit. Okay, you get paid a bit more for it, but damn, that's a lot of time of your life that you're not going to get back. Yeah, I understand stuff is really expensive, and you have to. People have to do 2 jobs, 3 jobs. I know people that have to do 2 jobs, but like, I mean, look at the stuff people are searching. Like, when are people going to take on board like this? This is not normal behaviors. You know what I mean? Seriously here, this is not normal behaviors. This is someone who's been pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed like a robot. But they're not. They're human beings. But they are literally being pushed to beyond wanting to live for someone else's benefit.
And I think that that's really where people, like, you lose a lot of people. That's a massive factor.
Yeah.
For people to properly live or have the will to achieve greatness.
I think also, like, as a guy, it's probably, like, very demoralizing when you see opportunities for, like, I think it's ridiculous. Like, there's a lot of opportunities that are made, like, explicitly for women. And if you're a man, you just don't have access to that opportunity. There's very few things that are in that opposite direction. And I think that it's also more socially acceptable to be hostile and negative towards men. Because, like, men, and this is undeniable, that if you go back 50 years, men had a tremendous advantage in culture, right? Like, culture was built by and for men.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that culture has improved in a lot of ways to where women are given a lot of rights and privileges that they should have had all along.
Yeah,
but I think that also what that comes with is that there comes with, like, a lingering sense of resentment, where it's like a 20-year-old guy now isn't responsible for some sort of, like, patriarchal advantage that his great grandfather had. And so, like, you can't use the patriarchy as like a reason to like tell a guy that this is the reason why you're a loser. And I think that's what really makes a lot of guys mad, is that they're effectively, you're basically giving people original sin. You're saying like, well, because your grandfather or great grandfather, you know, like whenever he grew up, he had advantages. Now, you know, we're going to treat you badly and act like those advantages still exist. And there's like that lingering resentment and animosity that is culturally acceptable, I think, in a lot of cases. And you can just look at Twitter and you can see how culturally acceptable it is. Even look at mainstream media, or like look at like, you know, daytime talk.
See, I will say I don't have Twitter. I'm not a big person on social media. I am who I am without, like, okay, I know I do YouTube videos from time to time, but I'm not like Asmon. Asmon really is socially inclined. Like, that's cool. Do what you want to do what you need to do. Cool. So when I say something, it's because it's how I see and feel without being overwhelmed and like how do I put it? Without basically being overwashed with everything that goes on online. So it's kind of like I'm the type of person that I don't want to say I don't care, because I do, but I'm not, I don't watch the news every day. If that makes sense. You know what I mean? I live my life how I live my life. You know what I mean? If a celebrity dies, I hear about it. Or something really bad happens, I hear about it. I'm not sitting there watching it 24/7. I'm not there searching on Google 24/7. What's happening? Like, I'm not that type of person. So I think me putting that in there can give people a different, like, expression on what's happening.
Talk shows. That is extremely damaging to men's mental health. To be told that you constantly have all of these advantages and the world is handed to you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my fucking God, yeah. I totally agree. Oh, my fucking God. Single-handedly, I've been there. Yeah. It's fucking crazy. And I think it starts from school. Oh, what would you like to be when you're older? Oh, I don't know. I'd like to be a policeman, a firefighter. I don't know. Drive an ambulance. Because realistically, that's kind of what people see on day-to-day life. Because the kids that age aren't really... Well, now it's different. But when I was growing up, there was no really big internet that we could easily get onto to go, oh, yeah, I want to be a streamer. Like, it just wasn't a thing then. I want to collect all the Pokemon cards. I want to collect Yu-Gi-Oh cards, which are actually somewhere in here. So, yeah, that's a different story. But, yeah, again, it goes back to, like, I tell people, you get paid a minimum wage. Let that sink in. I tell people you get paid a minimum wage. And then they go to work, and then they are absolutely slaved. And there is things that I know what people have done in workplaces that are far beyond even legal. But they get paid a minimum wage. And it is crazy. Because you're paid as a manager to tell people, or assistant manager, or whatever, to tell, like, to like literally nail fucking down on people and be like, oh yeah, I need this done. And damn, you're one person. You are one person. You're not a fucking robot. It's so true. I think more people need to realize that these are actually fucking human beings with actual real life problems that they keep to themselves because it's a personal problem. Go to work and they are fucking slaves. Don't get me wrong, it's what the name is. You go to work, you get paid for the job you do. But you are still human. And again, trying to make too personal, I've been in that situation personally, but I also know people that like take the fucking piss. They take the piss. And when as soon as they start to question back or say like, oh boss, geez, like, oh, already done my 8 hours today, why do I have to stay another 2? Oh, it's because Billy's not in. Yeah, but that's not my problem. Well, I'll go get another job. And it's shit like that. As easy as that, why people just think, I need my job. I guess I'm just better. I'm just need to be like, do as I'm told. But it's fucking crazy. It's crazy.
Whenever you exist in a world where opportunities categorically exclude you from existing.
Which is probably why 40% of young men aged 18 to 45 meet the criteria for depression, and 49% of 18
What did he say? 18 to 45?
and aged 18 to 45 meet the criteria for depression, and 49% of 18 to 23-year-olds have had a thought of passing themselves in the past 2 weeks.
Here's a question for you. Are you genuinely happy where you work? Because the last time I asked someone this question, or asked people the same question, it's been no. Categorically, no. No, no, no. They do it because they need to do it. They just need to do it. And they need to do it because they need the money. And when I've asked people before about the job itself, they don't give a fuck about it. Would they ever put 110? No. Because they get treated like robots. They get treated like fucking shit. And again, minimum wage. And I tell people, do minimum job. Be the last person in and the first person out.
Alone.
Hard really to say if that's comparable. I think that probably those numbers went up for women as well too. I think social media and the internet's brain rot for everybody.
Yeah.
But
yeah, yeah. I totally agree. I think that's why people are a lot more happier. People were a lot more happier years ago because there was a lot less shit in their life from the internet. I think that's what it is. Don't get me wrong, yes, the internet has its good things, its good values, its blah blah blah. But the fuck me, it's crazy.
But you know, I think that for guys it also is bad. But like, if you look at it from like, I don't think this is a male-only problem. A lot of these issues are like meta-level society issues that affect men and women. Obviously, the way that you approach it for men is different, and you know, men and women have unique struggles. But I think also this is something, you know, a rising tide floats all boats, or a rising tide floats all toasters in a bathtub. Anyway,
and we're seeing the symptoms of this problem everywhere. The sapping away of our vision and ambition permeates in all aspects of modern society today. Our culture, architecture, relationships, bodies and minds. Past civilizations before us have always placed their emphasis on beauty, wisdom and logic for all the population to see, with great town squares, bustling with art, life and community. These things were placed above all else as the bedrock of their societies, laying out a code of honor and struggle in its people to achieve greatness. Comforts were shown in
there is no more virtue that is assigned to critical thinking and logic. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, and I think that like anti-intellectualism isn't really something that's new in American culture, but I think it's become so pervasive in like widespread American and also Western culture that it's become extremely harmful. It's like an unironic, like, I think that we've become a little bit inferior to where we used to be. I do. Absolutely. There is so much less of an emphasis, and like thinking for yourself gets you into so many fucking, like you can trap yourself by thinking for yourself because you go outside of the box that you're supposed to exist in.
Yeah. And the funniest thing is, this man has literally just said this after being banned for 12 days. Or his account was frozen for 12 days, I think it was. And it's true. Like I was saying, people go to work and they are slaved. But as soon as they start to bite back, as soon as they start to question it, back to the beginning. Back to the bit, like, that's it. It's like, tough luck. This is what you're doing. And you can't say nothing about it. Just get on with it and do it. And it's, in a way, I'm glad America has that free speech thing. I don't know too much about American law or the amendments, I think it was. I'm not too sure, but the free to speech stuff, fucking love it. Yeah, I do. But it's true. For him to literally say that after what he said before, and everyone's got their own opinions, everyone's got their own way of saying whatever. But it's why I watch Asmongold, because he says it how it is. Nothing's written down. Nothing's pre-scripted, just in case he needs to save himself. If he fucks up, he fucks up. Everyone has to fuck up so they can start again, so they know where they fucked up from. But it's why I think more people need to kind of understand where he's coming from. But that's what we say here. It's very rich coming from him.
Art and culture, but as an aspiration for achieving something great, for
Yeah,
following your
that's what
mastery.
that's about.
But today our cities are mostly devoid of all of this character, and instead they're marked out by the most cost-efficient, bland, and sterile designs to facilitate a simpler self-motivation.
So I think what this guy is now stating is that years and years ago, for men, built these massive, wealthy, like Egyptians, the easiest way to put it, like these big fucking buildings. This is what the everyday man gets. And it's true. This is what it's like in the UK. It's fucking true. It's what's happening in the UK. And how... Okay, yeah, I understand there's a lot of people, you have to put them somewhere. Everyone has to live somewhere. But you're telling me a young man that gets his first job looks at this building, like, I don't know, let's say I take my son. And I say, son, this is where you're going to live when you're older. And you're going to work your ass off to live here. And he's going to look at me and go, what the fuck is this? What's this? I think that's what he's coming to. And it's true. Like, who in their right mind will literally work their ass off to afford a place like this? Can you see where I'm coming from? Because compared to what people used to build for a king or one person in particular that was of power,
motivated purpose. It's why people flock all over the world to a handful of remaining cities that retain their centuries-old charm to feel and experience the character.
That's exactly what I meant. See what I mean?
character of bygone societies that were motivated by higher ideals. Ideals greater than our modern two-dimensional ways of thinking. With a prioritization of comfort, lust and opulence, and flashy materialism over individual excellence and greater community, we're now reeling in the aftermath, becoming
I think it's that people have been divorced from being able to hope for anything better than what they already have.
Yep.
That's the real reason.
Yep. I agree.
Like, you see this all the time, like, because it's true that working hard will make you, like, working hard will increase the probability that you will be successful. But I think that, like, the reason why video games are so popular and so many young guys like video games is because video games provide a guarantee that if you grind and you work hard at something, you'll see a result. Whereas in real life, a lot of times that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I think that it's actually, like, that's why young men are drawn to video games a lot. It's because they're an equal playing field in a way that nothing else in the world really provides them.
It's sad, but it's so true.
still a generation of
and something like a video game, or a game is what we call it here, can do that. Maybe that's why men don't have that huge ambition, because something as simple as a game can do the same.
Mandated mediocrity. And does this explain why men today seem to struggle more than ever while seemingly having more than ever? America in particular is not actually in a recession. In fact, on paper, the economy looks like the best it's been in a while. Unemployment has dropped, GDP is up, but what the people are actually experiencing is a completely different story. We can see this in a study by the University of Michigan on consumer sentiments, which gathers data based on how consumers feel about the current state of finances.
I'm surprised COVID-19 here. It's dropped massively 2020 into 2020. But after 2022, that's nuts. I guess that's the point where it kind of like not levels out after COVID, but like people start getting back on their feet again. And yeah, I do, for here, it was very expensive. Diesel, oh my god, I was paying like £1.85 a litre. £1.90 was the most I've ever paid. £1.90 a litre.
In 2022, it dropped to an all-time low. Prices of our average daily needs like gas and food have increased in unbearable percentages.
See?
In contrast,
the problem is that while the GDP has gone up by a tremendous amount, I'm gonna have a Bernie Sanders moment here. Is that it's the 1% that is enjoying those privileges. And I think that a really good way to tell is that I remember looking up when like I first started, like this is kind of like a weird thing to say, but like I remember somebody asked me like, am I in the top 1% for like income earners? And I remember looking it up whenever my stream first got popular. And then I looked it up maybe last year. And the top 1% for income earners has gone up by like 30% in the last 5 years. So, like, the very, very wealthy are becoming increasingly more wealthy.
The rich get richer.
And then the people in the middle are experiencing stagnation.
Yeah.
And then the people who are poor are just basically like, I mean, who cares?
They're poor.
Rich get richer. Yeah, exactly. COVID made the gap way worse. Yeah, and like there's obviously like very traditional, like economic indicators like a gene.
See, I asked my dad for kind of the same thing, because, and he said it's just the same. He said if you're in that middle ground, you're lucky, because you can get, I don't want to say privileges, but you could have something to look forward to. Obviously, the poor just lived. They just lived however best way they could. And obviously the rich got richer.
Index or something like that. But I think that also like we can just simply go to the grocery store and like, I'm like going through old receipts when I'm cleaning my house and I'm looking at like a 2011 receipt and like I buy a meal and it's $5.80.
Privilege. But I don't mean to throw that like at Asmon saying it's privilege, because I kind of know how he was brought up. So I'm not saying it's privileges, because I mean, he's just on about how much things have changed for costs. But as it was, it's what I'm saying. If you're in the middle, you could probably go to McDonald's for like a treat. But if you're poor, you had nothing.
There it is, right? It's right in front of you. Kind of like we're in the new Middle Ages. Oh yeah, no, we are advancing at light speed towards neo-feudalism. And it's already happening in abstract ways, such as DoorDash and things similar to that. Other types of delivery and service programs. That's the first step.
Salary increases do not match.
Yeah, it's like Wall-E. You seen Wall-E where everyone's basically on those big ass chairs? And everything's done for them. They just sit there. Well, you just sit on your sofa, you sit on your bed, you just sit wherever you want, and food comes to you.
Putting a high strain on budgets.
Inflation is showing no...
And this will also become increasingly more powerful when the, again, maybe a Hassan moment, Bernie Sanders moment, where the means of production are consolidated by a small handful of people, and AI allows that that control to maintain itself, because AI will consolidate the means of production among fewer people. It's a really huge problem, and I wish more people would see it from like a macroeconomic level. But I think that it's really disappointing to see everybody that's like everybody gets like really in the weeds about like identity politics and stuff, because I feel like all of that, in my opinion, I think identity politics and the entire like all of the vitriol and animosity and discord that's created by identity politics, I think that it's done intentionally. This is a conspiracy, by the way. Might take another vacation for this. I think that it's done intentionally by elites and by the people who own mainstream media and by the people who basically are in charge, in order to get people fighting with each other rather than fighting against the people that are oppressing them.
Oh my god. This dude looking for a new holiday. I mean, he's cleaned his house, so he's gonna be bored the next holiday. But I agree. Because if for instance, if everyone sold grass seed, everyone has nice grass. But if nobody sold lawnmowers, then everyone's got a problem. And then you buy a lawnmower. And then your neighbor gets an electric one. Then you go buy a petrol one or gas mower. And then the guy with the electric one says, "Yeah, but you're destroying the ozone layer. You're causing the ice caps to melt." Argument straight away. Problem. It's a problem for two people, but it's not a problem for the people that are selling them. That's why you buy anything now. You go buy a toaster, you go buy a microwave oven. It lasts like 2 years, 3 years, and dead. You have to go buy a new one. It's deliberate. But it's true.
I think it's no surprise that identity politics went up. Like, I mean, you can see, like, have you guys seen the charts of, like, the usage of the words, like, woke, or usage of the words, like, intersectional, or something like that? Like, a lot of these, like, new age identity politics vocabulary. I think it's no coincidence that vocabulary started ramping up massively right after Occupy Wall Street.
See, again, I don't know.
I just think that's a really interesting coincidence.
I'm not that inclined with all this stuff.
What are the odds?
Signs of slowing down as Americans pay over $1,000 a month more on the same essentials we were buying 3 years ago. Nothing's changed.
That is the exact same, here. in the UK. Exactly the fucking same. But what I don't see on there is gas. And like the woman is saying, months. Or maybe, I think she said about a year, sorry. A year. 1 year. $1,000 difference. And people in that middle ground I keep saying about, that's a fucking lot of money. That is a lot of money that has to be found somewhere, sold by something, earned by more hours, which again causes more problems for that person. Because none of this is his problem. All this is because it's someone else's problem. But because they're rich, they don't have this problem. This is not a problem to the rich. I mean, the food comes, the electricity is already there. The housing, if you want to buy another one, and car insurance, you probably just get driven around anyway. So none of this matters to the rich. The poor doesn't matter to them. Because what's the likely chance of someone poor having a car? Electricity, there would be so... Like, I know people here that are so tight they turn off everything in the house before they go to sleep to try and save money. So it does happen here. It's crazy. And like I said earlier, it's fascinating because is it really that bad in America? Is it that bad? Is it $1,000 more a month for the same food to leave your fridge on?
But price. The latest consumer price index for March showing basic necessities like our food, housing, and gas are all continuing to cripple Americans' wallets
crazy.
with higher prices.
I can't imagine food only being up by 2%.
Inflation's our wages are actually down against inflation since Biden took office. So not only are prices soaring, but you know our wages, at least if you measure our...
I won't say nothing about Biden or the other woman. I won't say nothing about them. But what I will say, living here, we have our own problems with our government and your leaders in America. But I'm telling you now, we felt what you felt 100%.
Hourly wages are not keeping up at all.
Keeping your head above water has become the new normal instead of owning a home with a white picket fence.
Yep.
The red
My understanding is that 2/3 of Americans live paycheck to paycheck.
It's exactly the same here. It is. If you are lucky to live with your parents, because what I always hear on with Americans, that people living in their mum's basements and whatever. If you have that opportunity, because over here it's crazy. The people that I hear that are in university but they live in their parents' house because they can't afford to live closer to it. It's the same thing. But people living paycheck to paycheck is so fucking true. And when that fails, because it's never enough, they go get a loan. They go get a credit card, they go borrow money, and it builds and builds and builds and builds.
I thought it was like 30%, and I found out it was in fact like double that. It's
Holy
incredible.
Shit.
becoming richer.
That guy does look, you know who he looked like? You know in Firelink Shrine in Dark Souls 1? Cramped?
And the poor are becoming poorer, with the middle class disintegrating completely. All the knowledge of the past of just going to college, getting a job, and buying a home immediately is just completely irrelevant for anyone working and living in 2024.
It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. How? It's crazy how these fucking people keep saying this. And It's crazy. It goes back to brainwashing. Yeah, do more hours. Come on, like, oh yeah, you're doing the job fantastic. You're making the business grow. Yeah, that's fine. Your business, like whoever you work for, the business is growing, great. But you ain't buying a house. No fucking way. I promise you, you ain't buying a house. You have to save. You have to save the little crumbs. The crumbs you can't afford to save to buy a house. And it takes however long it takes to save those crumbs to become noticeable. And then it's the mental state you put yourself in. Because you know you need to save, but you know you can't afford to save.
It's not irrelevant. People, like, I have a lot of friends, like, I'm 34, and I have a lot of friends. The majority of my friends that are the same age as me make over $100,000 a year, and this is not counting people that stream. These are, like, long-time real-life friends.
And it's why I enjoy that American kind of scenario, because it's different over here. If you're lucky, obviously, if people know you and you know who's about personally or by a good friend, etc., 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 you've got a good chance. But I am telling you now, a huge amount of people here don't have that opportunity.
Skyrocketed in prices to absurd levels. The housing market is in a complete giant bubble. Everyone's sending out job applications more and more, all while using these automated testing systems, applying up to 100 jobs a day and still not getting anywhere. All the while major companies repeat.
And what I'm saying is that people are working but can't afford to save those crumbs. People haven't even got jobs to start with.
Tell us that they can't find any workers for their companies. And
because the job prospect is terrible and people hate the job. That's the reason why.
Yeah.
It's really simple. And also, I'm not saying that, like, it's not true, like, people don't have problems. All I'm saying is that there are a lot of people who still do make the American dream happen, but it's harder to do, and the barrier to entry for it is a lot higher. And I think that because the barrier to entry has gotten so high, it's become
competitive.
It's not realistic.
Yeah. It's sad.
It's purely luck? No, it's not purely luck. That's not true. Like, I know a lot of people that I went to high school with.
Again, when you said earlier about women have opportunities that men can't, is looks. And now it sounds a bit wrong me saying this, but some women do get jobs because how they look. And not, like, someone could have a massive IQ. Someone could be really high with IQ and smart, but it's not fitting the name of that job. It's more about how you look to fit that job.
With that are losers. Well, they were losers because they were lazy and they fucked off in school and they were stupid. No, a lot of people are successful because they work hard.
True.
It's nepotism? No. No,
that's true. It is true. But again, for people I spoke to here, it really is about trying to find that balance with their work, if their work's not ass. And that balance where you earn enough but you don't pay enough, like you're not paying stupid amounts to the tax man. You know what I mean? If you're from the UK, you know what I mean. Like you do 60 hours and the fucking tax man's taking 1,500, 2,000 from you. You know what I mean? And you think, fucking, what's the point of that? Why do I bother? So it's about finding that balance, and also being able, if you're on your own or you're with a partner, is probably doable. But it's finding that balance, and it's finding if you can afford to save that little bit every month.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Not a single one of the people that I'm using as an example obtained their job through nepotism. Luck plays a factor with everything, but so does hard work.
Results of this are clear. People are drifting towards more unfulfilling jobs, or just not even having a job at all, while the rich buy up resources, real estate, and everything that used to be the cornerstones of the middle class that is now just an investment hidden through an offshore bank account for some giant investment fund.
This is a crazy exploit. I'm surprised that they haven't patched this. Well, I guess not, because they are the ones that are probably writing the laws.
What they want to do is create a nation of renters. BlackRock coming in and giving them more money than the house is
You'll
worth.
own nothing and be happy.
How much more do they give them?
They can give them, 30% above.
Really?
Which is money.
And then they just
it's
lease those
BlackRock.
homes out.
And they lease them out. It's part of this idea that home ownership and automobile ownership and all of these things, these legacy systems that people want to get rid of. And they go, rent a house, use Uber, Lyft, whatever.
Yep.
You don't need to own. What does owning do for you? That's that famous article.
And if you go back to the very fucking beginning, where the video states men are slowly giving up and nobody cares. And that is the fucking pinnacle. I am fucking shocked. What does it even mean anymore to own anything? Why do people even go to fucking work for then? You know what I mean? People go to work so they can buy and be proud of something they can buy. There's a few things going on here in the UK which are very, 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 very similar to this. And I personally believe they're doing it because the governments don't care. The government here don't care. They are literally getting rid of everything that will try and help people. They already got rid of public libraries, public swimming pools, public parks, public spaces, public grasses, public everything. They sell it all. And the private people come in and buy the land, and the councils, oh yeah, thank you, great, thank you. And then people go, wait a minute. Why is it £10 to go swimming now? When I was growing up, it was like £1.50, £2. There's your answer. And who's going to say anything? No one, because they don't own it. The council, the government don't own it anymore. They sold it all. It's the same thing. Same thing as America, from what it sounds like. People, they're on about the fucking government's buying everything and just pre-renting it. So, going back, it literally states men are slowly giving up. Because they have nothing to their name. Everything is owned by someone, and all they got to do is pay them. It's the same as delivery. It's the same fucking thing. You're buying food, but yet you got to pay them to deliver it to your house that you don't even own. Fucking hell. I thought we had it bad.
Well, you'll own nothing and be happy.
He said the thing.
And because of this, all saving plans for regular people are halted because living paycheck to paycheck means there just isn't enough for a savings plan. And whilst there's still some hope to dig your way out...
I was actually having a conversation with a friend of mine about this the other day. And he was talking to me like, we were talking about like investments and stuff. And he's like, yeah, like I want to invest, but I just don't really, I can't put aside a lot of money to do it. And it's like, it sucks because like you're basically on like the hamster wheel.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's not really there's no light at the end of the tunnel. And I think that's why people just get off the wheel, get out of the tunnel, and then they go back into the basement and then they withdraw from society.
Yep.
This does begin a damaged path. People end up working in a job that's not in their field, something that they hate to do every day, and eliminates the experience they need for the job in their field. And so
this is something that happens a lot, where I think that most people that go out to get jobs, people look for jobs that they don't completely hate, but primarily I think that people go to college to get a job that makes more money. Most people have their jobs for money first and passion second, if that's even a factor.
The experience they are
wow.
getting is just completely useless for getting back on track. In effect, their now entry-level position.
But it's the fucking damage it does, knowing that you got a degree in something, but because of cost and money, you can't go do it. You got to do this bummy job. I'm not saying flipping burgers is a bummy job. I'm just saying it's not what they went to college for. It's basically what I'm saying. You know what I mean? It pays for now. It's not where people want to be. Can you see where I come from? And I think a lot of people, men and women, they get stuck in that routine. They get stuck in that job. Because paycheck comes. Oh, yeah, I got paid. Oh, fuck, it's all gone. So you have to stay there.
It's further deviating them from becoming lawyers, psychologists, or whichever career path they studied for. And if the middle class is experiencing this, then the lower earners are feeling this even more. The jobs they once had a chance of landing now go to the middle class, AI, while they get hit a bump lower, which is putting millions of people in dire.
And then what happens to the lower class, like Osmond said? What happens to the lower class when AI comes? It becomes a government problem. But they just sold all their stuff. They just sold their land. They have no involvement. They don't care about them because they're not paying tax. They're not contributing back to the government. That's what I think.
Straight. Yep. They face working twice as hard for minimum wage, juggling between jobs, partaking in the gig economy with absolutely no security, all with an extreme
This is the feudalism.
To keep up with daily expenses in a completely overpriced megacity. And the truth is, both middle and lower earners are now taking a huge hit to their egos. They feel disrespected through no fault of their own. There's no
well, it's because you live in a society that doesn't allow you to have self-respect. I think that this is one of the reasons why there's a lot of violence in America too. It's like a macro level problem, is that you basically, if you don't have, like, if you're not affluent to an extent, it's almost like you don't deserve respect in society.
Man wants to feel like a failure. They don't want to feel like they're not providing or on their destiny. Imagine putting in the hours and effort to get a degree and then having...
Like, you can look at it like this, right? Like, back when my dad was in high school, people would bring their shotguns to school, right? They would, like, leave them in the car. There weren't school shootings that were happening all the time. And I think that as the economy has gotten worse and as people have lost the sense of community and culture, and as people have stopped being able to rely on and look forward to a future that's like good, then I think that you have that nihilism set in. And that's why I think that that's one of the, again, school shootings, there's 50 reasons why they happen. But I think that's at least a couple of them.
Yeah.
To take a job that's not even within the field you studied for. Well, this is just regular life for most people nowadays. It's making men feel incredibly depressed and isolated. They watch all this stuff on social media. They see people flexing the Rolexes on their Instagram stories. Meanwhile, they're struggling.
This for me, and I will say this, I'll say it every fucking time. This is why I watch Asmongold. I couldn't give a fuck how much money he's got. I couldn't care what car he drives. Do you see it? Do you see him doing all that shit? I have never seen him once. I totally respect the guy. 100% respect him. If he wishes to do that, whatever. But money's not everything. And the craziest thing is, he's happy to stream because it's something he enjoys. And nothing's changed. And the last time I saw him going to Wendy's, it was in a car you or I could buy, saving. You know what I mean? And he's perfectly fine with it. And the thing is, the craziest thing is, he still enjoyed those spicy nuggets. That's why I watch him. Because that's who he projects himself to be. That's who he is. And it's crazy. It's why I genuinely respect him for that. It's why I watch him. And it's actually, funny enough, it's because of this guy that I do reaction videos, and I actually enjoy making videos like this, but yeah, loads of personal reasons and mental health stuff. It like gets crazy, but yeah, this guy is like a massive influence, especially in people our age, his age, because we're kind of the same age. And it's like he can show he can you know what I mean, you can still live and still do everything that I can do and he can do. And that's why I think he's a really cool person.
Struggling to survive, living a life they absolutely hate. And when friends and family ask about it, they suffer the humiliation of explaining why they had to take what was available. Even though it isn't humiliating at all, and they're doing what they can to survive, it definitely takes a huge effect on their mental health.
I think that like the conspicuous nature of things like streaming, for example, and also OnlyFans is also really damaging for people's mental health, because they see certain people that have opportunities and advantages that are sometimes unearned. Like, for example, like if you're born a hot girl and you're able to do OnlyFans, you have a huge advantage in life, right? Especially early on. And obviously, if you're doing that, you're making $100K a month. This is a massive advantage that a 21-year-old guy is going to not really have. He's not going to have that. And so I think that the conspicuous nature of wealth inequality on social media really fucks with people's mental health.
Yep.
Especially as it wasn't that long ago.
But going back to what I was saying, you don't see the Rolex on him. You don't see the Lamborghini in every fucking video. At the beginning of every fucking video. You know what I mean? You don't see it.
Where it was actually normal to enter the workforce with a mentor who would show you the ropes and encourage you and push you to
it? Yeah, well, here's the funny thing. If that Hawk Tuah girl wasn't conventionally attractive, they wouldn't have. We wouldn't even know her name.
Wouldn't bothered. Should be a phase, a weak phase.
Straight up
phase.
Learn more. Starting at the bottom didn't seem so bad because there was an opportunity to grow and reap more rewards, but this imperative step is slowly slipping away. Companies of prestige have forgotten the generation with no experience, and for many companies, this is what they want. This is actually the ideal scenario, where they have people so desperate, so in need of experience, that they can treat their workers like absolute trash.
That's what I was saying earlier.
Well, because the reason why they're being treated like trash is because they're only 3 years away from being replaced by a robot.
Yeah.
That's the reason why. True. It's because they like the job is effectively like it's like an Amazon warehouse. You used to pick up a box and put it somewhere else. Like, of course they're not going to give a shit about you. Yeah.
I guess it's the same with horse and cart. It was the same with horse and cart. No one gives a fuck about horse and cart now. Get a car. Get a car. It does it. You just sit there. It's the same thing.
1980s testosterone levels have dropped more than 50%, and yet we're told to ignore it. Why? Because there's a coordinated effort to suppress masculinity and turn men into something they were never meant to be. This decline is no accident. We're constantly exposed to harmful chemicals in our food and everyday products, bombarded with estrogenic chemicals from plastics, junk food, and sedentary lifestyles, which is why testosterone levels...
That's actually a really good point. Like, it's weird because, like, so whenever I was on mandatory break, I was like exercising and like doing things physically like 4 to 6 hours a day because I was like cleaning up all the stuff in the house. I felt so much better. Straight up. Like I immediately felt.
But if you didn't say what you said, it would never happen. So it's still being true to what you said. It's still being true to yourself. Because you say it as it is. You say it how it is. But if you didn't, your house would have still been the same. And it's that twist of fate of, because people didn't like what you said, and obviously I'm not going to go into it. AsmongoldT's video is AsmongoldTV, YouTube, Twitch. But again, if you didn't say it, nothing would have changed.
Way fucking better. It is fat Jake Paul, it is. But like, no, I did. And it was like not even close.
have been declining for decades, with a 17% drop among 60-year-olds in 2004 compared to 1987. Sperm count and strength in men are also decreasing exponentially, with a 32.5% decrease in mean sperm concentration in the last 50 years. But here's the good news. There are ways to fight back, and one of the most effective solutions that I found is our sponsor Black Forest's Testosterone with Tonkat Ali. This supplement is packed with two of the most powerful natural testosterone boosters available. Testosterone is a natural anabolic
Yeah, I know it's a ad, whatever, but I'm sure there is a actual fucking food somewhere that can do the same thing. I don't know, go eat some eggs or something, boiled, whatever.
Compound that helps increase muscle growth, boost recovery, and support higher testosterone levels. Tonkat Ali, used for centuries, helps raise testosterone, reduce stress, and improve overall vitality. I've been using Black Forest's Testosterone and Tonkat Ali, and I've noticed a huge improvement in my energy, strength, and focus. It's like getting back the edge that modern life was just draining away. Right now, Black Forest is offering a buy two, get one free deal.
I think supplements can be good. Like, I don't think that you should use supplements as a solution to problems without doing lab work first, personally. Yeah. Like, you should get your labs done and have lab work done before you start, you know, like, can have a doctor look at it and give you feedback. Yeah. But after that, like, you want to take a supplement, that's totally fair. I think a lot of it is a lack of, like, a bad diet and a lack of physical activity. I think that the human body is made to move. Yeah. You're made to exist. You're made to live. And if you live a life that is a contrived, like, weird version of what an animal version of yourself would do, like, you think about it, right? And, like, you look at, like, our evolutionary period, right? Like, this is, you know, Cro-Magnon. This is 2024. Think about how much time period, what a tiny little fraction of, like, evolution that we've really had, where the expectation was not that you were physically moving around all the time.
Oh, just get lazy.
Do you really think that evolution changes that fast? Absolutely not.
No.
Limited edition product, and once it's gone for good. I can personally vouch for its effectiveness. It's had a huge difference in my energy levels, strength, sleep, and overall well-being. And by supporting our sponsors, you also support us directly. So hurry and take advantage.
Of course, like I said, I think it was Zone. Go subscribe to them, because I mean, without him putting this video together, it's just spreading the awareness of, obviously, the title of the video.
Of this amazing 48-hour promo and support me alongside this amazing brand using the link in the description below. The cost of having a job also plays a part in stripping them of their dignity. Transport costs to their job, depending on the amount, could take a huge chunk of their salary, so that at the end of the day, they can only pay for rent or food and not both. A government grant could replace their salaries, and they earn more or less the same amount.
What's also helping to pay the bills is, as I said, the US government, in particular, our disability programs for people who are unable to work. Those programs seem to have morphed away from their original humane intention and now seem to provide an alternative income source to...
This is my dad's here. What's up?
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, be careful. I fell down the stairs the other day.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. No, it's okay.
The steps, they're right proportion.
Let me get this shit off the thing.
I forgot to give you this last night.
Oh, fuck. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Look at that. We got the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. How about that? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah. It's got the little, the ghosts and the jack-o'-lanterns and everything like that.
Yeah, and he was over last night, too.
Yeah, yeah, we watched Fury. That was really fucking good. Yeah, I love that movie. Oh, my God.
Yeah, if you want to see his dad, go jump on AsmongoldTV. Go watch the video. Men are slowly giving up. Nobody cares. Asmongold reacts. Yep.
Several millions for millions and millions of these guys.
If a job doesn't support your basic needs of a home, food, and transport, it wears thin in justifying the effort for this job.
Yeah, why
especially
do
if
it?
you're not getting any experience. And in most cases, if you go into the gig economy, absolutely no security either. All for minimum wage. There's even a new
that
term
sounds
called
like
quiet-
0 hour contract in the UK. Basically, a 0 hour contract is like you got a job, and yeah, I need you at 7 o'clock. You need to come. Oh yeah, you got the next 4 days off. Oh yeah, but after that, you're working 1 day.
quitting, where you do the bare minimum of your job to the point that you're almost rendered useless and you get fired or simply quit. The fact that this term even exists shows that attention is desperately needed to solve this problem. And while this is happening, it's becoming more and more common for both partners in a household to be living the same life, or even with most male partners actually being the breadwinner. And whilst this isn't necessarily a problem at all, it is leading to some weird modern problems in the household. Men with families are actually switching their roles with their wives, except they're not actually doing what their wives would do if they were to stay at home.
They're just doing nothing, sitting around playing video games. How about that? It's pretty good.
When you look at what I guess in Britain is called NEET, N-E-E-T, do you say that also?
What's that?
N-E-E. When you look at what I guess in Britain is called NEET, N-E-E-T, do you say that also?
Neat. It depends what
Yeah,
metaphor.
that's the way you say it.
Neat.
So in Australia,
Yeah.
neither employed nor in education or training. When you look at that huge group of well over 6 million prime age men, the story they're telling about their lives is really pretty devastating. It's pretty distressing. They basically don't do civil society. There's almost no worship, almost no volunteering, almost no charitable work. They've got a lot of time on their hands, but they report doing strangely little help around the home or help with other people at home.
Because of the situation,
Well, because fuck them. You're going to play video games all day. What do you want to help them with anything for? Like, fuck society. I just want to play games. It's that simple.
some men may feel a sense of worthlessness and resentment. Some
Yeah,
men
what do
might
you
take
mean?
an hour to clean up the house.
I can see where he's coming from. I can see where Asmongold's coming from. But as a dad, it doesn't work like that. Also, it's about trying to project the right thing. You know what I mean? If you're just gonna be a bum and not help, not do anything, it's a seriously damaging way for a younger adult to grow up. Because what you find is there's no enthusiasm, there's no respect for themselves or what they want to achieve. And it's very, very simple day-to-day basic living skills. I won't go talking about how Asmongold lives because I'm not him. And I won't disrespect him in that way. However he wants to live, he'll live. Like, you know what I mean? Cool. But if you have people living in your house and they don't know simple things, what to do, so when they finally do grow up and they struggle when they move into their own place, for me, it's hard. It'd be hard for me to see that. So it's like taking baby steps for a future of some hope.
House and fetch the
Of
kids, but the
understanding.
rest of the day they sleep or play games. In some cases the wives work and then come home to finish the chores their husbands were meant to do but didn't. And whilst this might cause huge marriage problems, it still feels better off to the husbands. If asked what they do for a living, saying they're on a break or working on a project beats the humiliation of saying they work at McDonald's with a useless degree on their back. Men without
Exactly.
families have nothing to lose, so they stop working because no woman would even want them anyway. They can't afford
This is the problem too, is like if you're a dude and you're broke, like that's a massive fucking debuff. That's a crazy debuff. That's bad. And also because like usually women want to date guys that make as much money as they do or more, right? This is just like, you know, cultural type thing. So yeah.
Or to date, they can't afford a family, and since their own families are supportive, it somehow justifies them giving up and staying at home, rather than facing these societal problems head on. With prices rising, getting hired becoming harder and harder by the day, and inequality becoming rampant within society, most men are just deciding to give up. Because instead of facing the hardships of having a job, it just seems so much easier to escape. Whether it be tamely being online, playing video games all day, or hiding behind doing chores at home to show they still have a purpose and are doing their best. The point being that for many men in 2024, if they're gonna be disrespected and feel worthless, they may as well choose the easy way out than a battle. If respect—
Fucking obviously.
Yeah.
Fucking obviously, if you divorce a person from any sense of self-respect, you take away any sense of like feeling good about what you're doing with yourself, and you're just having that happen, yes, they're gonna completely lose motivation to do anything with their life.
Respect had a currency on how it would affect your life directly,
why would they?
You would see a different picture. A man with a job with high pressure, long hours, and doing something that makes him feel degraded would be worth, say, $100, but staying at home, playing games, and escaping, all while being with the people he loves, is probably worth $200 because of how it affects him. This explains why more and more men are deciding to drop out of society rather than face it head on, as it just seems to be the easier path.
Well, it's because if you're a guy, like, how many of you guys feel like shit's rigged against you? Like, I feel like in a lot of cases, like, as a young guy, like, you've got things rigged against you. Yeah, absolutely. So why try? Why play a game that is rigged? Fuck that. Have you ever been in this position yourself? Yeah, of course. My perspective was always that I would get by doing anything I wanted. I never felt bad for doing anything because I didn't ask to exist in society. And if I don't, like, I don't know, I just never really thought about it, to be honest. I never really, like, considered it. So yeah, I would just do anything that I wanted or anything that I could to make money. And it was no issue. It's a loser mentality. It is a loser mentality for sure. It's bad mentality to have. But I think also, like, it's easier to get that mentality nowadays, for sure.
It's a choice between two paths, one that offers little satisfaction while the other...
You gotta remember, every person is different, though. And they have their own equal reasons to why X, Y, Z. Reason.
that provides comfort, it's easy to see why men are going this route. But the thing is, this is a terrible mistake. And this is creating problems that we've never seen before. If there is no emphasis or any facilitation of the need to aspire to something greater and the game seems rigged to most who are playing it, it's hardly a surprise record numbers of men are dropping out and giving up on the game entirely.
That's right.
The problem is that there's a huge group of men, roughly about...
Masturbate to anime girls and play video games. That's all you do.
7 million in America between the ages of 25 and 55 who are not
This is also a really important component when unemployment is being discussed, is that a lot of unemployment figures are created and like basically sourced in a way that they intentionally remove people that are not actively looking for a job.
Oh, really?
But like if you look at like basically it's like true unemployment versus like statistical like unemployment. Huge factor.
And are actively not looking for work. Now, COVID certainly had a hand in accelerating these figures. One question posed to these dropouts was how many of these men were on pain medication, and almost half of these men admitted to taking pain medication daily. And aside from those who desperately need it, these figures could indicate that men are aimlessly numbing themselves to their new reality. And this is great for society, as people don't have to deal with this huge problem. And what's even...
I think another big reason why people are on a lot of pain medication too is because there's no physical activity. And I think that a body that's not moving and being physically active on a regular basis develops different types of disorders and problems that result in pain. I think that's what happens.
Going back to what you were saying earlier.
More shocking is that 40% of these men do have some kind of degree.
What sort of men are in this group? demographically, education, family structure, ethnicity? Who makes up this group?
Yeah.
Surprisingly large, we say, representation of guys with college or even college degrees. 40% of this group has at least some college, and as I recall, about a fifth or a sixth are college grads.
The decision to be in this state is closely related to changing times. We've already discussed the effects of brain rot in another upload, which disabled problem solving in Generation Z and has already presented problems in finding jobs. They are quick to quit at the first
Kids now are
task and
dumb.
move on to find something else.
Gen Z considers themselves job hoppers, study says. Yeah, that's because there's no sense of
Achievement.
loyalty to a job.
Yeah,
And the reason
no
why
achievement.
younger people aren't loyal to jobs is because jobs aren't loyal to them.
Yep. They don't,
It's
they're just a number.
reciprocation,
They're
really.
they're just a number.
But what happens when options run dry and they find themselves simply stuck in limbo? Giving up seems to be the next step, and accepting that is easy when they're discouraged by the situation. Working off of surveys, the data compiled indicates that these men are not only not working, but they're cutting themselves off from their communities, or there's no
There it is.
incentivization for them to even have any community in the first place. They're hiding out
Well, it's
because
because the sense of community is created by social status. So, like, why do you want to be part of a community when your social status is very low?
Yeah.
Like, you're basically, like, signing up to be at the bottom of the totem pole. Why would you want to do that?
You're already there.
going out would mean meeting new people who
There
might
it
oppose
is.
their lifestyles. It makes it uncomfortable. Why leave when you can just aimlessly watch brain rot content and numb yourself with weed or pain medication and
That's
stay
right.
inside in the warm comfort of home? And any sexual needs you have can be satisfied with pixels on a screen. This lifestyle is increasingly becoming more and more normal for men in the West.
Yeah. My mail on it, yeah.
But what's important to note is that men don't want to be this way. It's a horrible lifestyle, it's depressing, it's atomizing. What this really is just a coping mechanism or a form of self-defense against a society that's becoming increasingly hostile to these men. Up until recently, the problem has been invisible. These figures weren't shown in any statistics or surveys because they slipped through the cracks until very recently. So why did they slip through the cracks? Well, it's easy to see. They simply don't fit the victim criteria. Some have degrees, they're in the prime of their lives, and it was their choice to quit. It's easily overlooked and only comes to light as the numbers rise. Nicholas Upstart wrote a book called Men Without Work and has since exposed and addressed the problems in his book.
That's nuts. God damn. Look at all that.
Yeah.
That's like a double.
That's
He says he is
lovely.
trained to look for hidden in plain sight problems, which is how he stumbled upon this issue. You see, these men are not causing trouble, at least for now, and they don't seem to be drawing any attention to themselves. On the contrary, they keep to themselves. So
Yeah, but it's the silentness. The silentness is the killer. Because it's what you can't hear or see is the problem. It is. It is. The silentness is the killer. Like, who in their right mind are... If someone's that low mentally, they ain't gonna make a big fucking statement about something. They ain't gonna make a big fucking woohoo, like, hello. They ain't gonna do none of that shit. They will... They'll just find a comfy spot and not move from that comfy spot. And that's the sad truth.
surveys and statistics just don't include them at all. They don't even register on the scale, and people in society think this is a joke issue. And it's also reasonable to
That's another big issue too, is that it's socially acceptable to shit on guys for not being successful in culture.
Yep.
And I think that, like, there aren't really the same sort of support groups and support networks that men have compared to women.
Yeah.
And I think also another big issue is that the support groups that exist for men are oftentimes more toxic than the people that are pushing them out of it. Where it's like the support group is something like Andrew Tate or some like weird crypto thing or like some like stupid like...
Or it's like another fucking reason to... oh yeah, do this because it will work. It will work, but you just gotta give it time. It doesn't fucking work. It's just another phase. It's just another fucking fake reason.
red pill like weird like worldview. And so yeah, I think that's the issue. Alpha male boot camp.
Yeah.
include that some of these men may work, but in the underground economy, work like formal cash jobs, or even shady legal ways of making money. But of course, this is just a minor portion of these men. We need to address the problem head on. How is the situation getting this bad? These men have completely lost their purpose in life. All of their duty, their hopes, their responsibilities, their own dignity and value. It's being completely decimated at the moment. And we're seeing this with the...
I think that it's not going to come back. I think this is going to keep getting worse. And
that's because it's already fucking there. And these people already know it. Like, how... Like, there isn't no one on this fucking earth with the willpower to convince men, women, people to say, oh, don't worry, things will get better. Things have hit so fucking bad that from what I can tell, people I know, like, it's so fucking bad. You got no luck. You got no chance in hell of making this situation better, especially with what's going on in the world. When I say the world, in certain parts, especially the UK, with people trying to find a home, people waiting on waiting lists to find a home, and yet you got these people on fucking dinghy boats. Not gonna go into it, but that stuff like that is not helping people deal with tomorrow. Today is nearly over. Today, don't think of today. Today will be a yesterday. Tomorrow is that's a whole different day. And it's true. It's why I reacted to this video. It's why I feel videos like this really need to be broad fucking spectrum. I know Asmongold lives in America and Texas, I think, and I'm not really sure how big the problem is over there. I'm not saying it's little. Oh, nowhere in the world is a little problem. But I feel like me putting my input of being being British, and putting my input of like how bad it is here, I'm hoping it kind of gives people the full scope of the fucking problem here, the big problem. Because it is a big problem, and unfortunately it's being left very quiet.
And right now, like, this is, I think it will get more than twice as bad as it is now.
Form of radicalization online, growing hatred and division, and a general apathy towards society as a whole. And the longer this is ignored, the harder it's going to be addressed down the line. More men today than ever feel disconnected, disillusioned, and left behind by a world that seems increasingly indifferent to their struggles.
It's why people now, this day and age, will always say growing up was the best. Going to secondary, primary school was great. All my mates were there. Blah, blah, blah. Because when you get to that age, and if you don't push yourself enough, if you're mentally able to, if you can't do that, you're on a fucking downfall straight away. It doesn't matter if you go to work. It doesn't matter, because they'll push you. They'll push all your buttons. They'll get you to do everything. And you're on minimum wage. I keep saying this. You're on minimum wage. But they will fucking rinse you of every drip of blood they can.
While GDP numbers...
because they can't get a girlfriend.
...be addressed down the line. More men today than ever feel disconnected, disillusioned, and left behind by a world that seems increasingly indifferent to their struggles. While GDP numbers...
because they can't get a girlfriend. It's pretty fucking simple. And they can't get a girlfriend because they're losers. It's really just that, like, I mean, that's a huge fucking factor.
Yeah.
You can't act like it's not.
Yeah.
And, like, the thing is that it's a vicious cycle, says you.
What is about to fucking be said is crazy. Because he's saying to get it's losers. They can't get a girlfriend. I think you gotta find yourself first. People, it's not about, this video is not about finding a girlfriend or whatever. But it's about men slowly giving up and nobody cares. So you have to find within yourself to fucking care first. That's it. Don't even think about anyone else. Because as soon as you stop giving up about yourself, you got a long way to go. Long fucking way to go. And I'm not going to go into it, but it can spiral like crazy. It can. And basically, someone's basically now stated that because Asmongold doesn't have a girlfriend, he's saying, yeah, but it's just like swings and roundabouts. You know what I mean? It's the way it works. So it'd be interesting to see what he says.
And like this, losers. It's really just that, like, I mean, that's a huge fucking factor. You can't act like it's not. And like the thing is that it's a vicious cycle, says you. Exactly.
But it depends on you as a person, how you take that. And most people get to a point where it's not really about a girlfriend anymore. If it happens, it happens. But there's more important things to worry about. But obviously with Asmongold, I mean, it's whatever. I mean, okay, if someone wins the lottery, they're gonna get every Tom, Dick, and Harry, every woman, and they'll only want one thing. That's why they're not around now. That's why your friends from school aren't around now. That's why the people you knew before aren't around now. But you go win the fucking lottery, you become a millionaire. Shit becomes difficult because you just can't go and date someone because they ain't dating you. They're dating you for your money. They're dating your money. They ain't. That's the simple thing. And maybe some people aren't ready. Maybe some people might not want to right now. But in Asmongold, I'm presuming it's different.
Fuck, that's... Exactly. Fuck, yeah, that's how do you think I know?
Exactly.
How do you think I fucking know? Yeah, what do you mean? Exactly. Duh. Fucking duh. Obviously, I'm the expert. Like, I'm the guy they bring in. It's like, you know, there's an interview and it's about like the history of cheese. And they bring in like a 53-year-old man who's balding with glasses. And it says like, Dale Hubman, cheese expert. Okay? Like, I'm the fucking incel expert. I've got the exodia of incels. No personal hygiene, balding, living at my mom's house, no job, fucking, like watching anime all the time. Yeah, I am the incel exodia.
But, and you could tell he's obviously taking this quite personally. And I'll be in the same shoes as him if I was. And I feel bad for him. Because he can't just go get a girlfriend because they don't want him. They want his money. And that's the sad fucking truth. Anyone who can get hold of money easy will. Like, without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow. And that's why I feel bad for him. But he knows it. Like he said, he's not lying. It's why I watch him. It's why I respect him. He says it how it is. But it's sad. It's sad. And I hope one day he finds someone that respects him and actually loves him for who he is as a person. It sounds a bit broski, but all I'm saying is the guy, it's true, he does live on his own. He lives in his mum's house for whatever reason, by all means. But I do feel bad for him because it's not like you can just find a girlfriend, because it's like a needle in a haystack.
Employment stats may sound like an easy, good solution on paper, especially to government bureaucracies. It will never really fix the reality of the situation for normal people. The real challenge we face today in the West is to find purpose and meaning again, to have any reason to even want to participate and achieve greatness in society.
Yeah.
We should focus on creating environments where people can thrive, where beauty, philosophy, and higher noble pursuits are actively encouraged by the cities and countries that we inhabit, which would give millions of men a reason to care again.
Welcome to the world's first.
Not gonna happen.
Because men are too low. Men are at the rock fucking bottom already.
It's just gonna keep getting worse, I think.
Yeah, I do too.
That's my perspective. I think it's just gonna keep getting worse, and it's the reason why is that, like, intelligent men and guys that are smart have more opportunities now than ever, but guys that don't have as many of those opportunities and aren't smart and very hardworking naturally
are stuck in limbo, are stuck between, do I give up, or do I have this big fucking ambition that I really, really, really need to do? Stuck in limbo in the middle.
naturally, they have way less. Because, like, now, like, if you're kind of like, let's say, you know, people, like, everybody's a different height, right? Some of you guys are 6 feet tall, some of you guys are 5'6", right? And so, biologically, I think intelligence is like a mix. You can, like, basically, it's like playing Sparking Zero, right? You can be really good at playing Dr. Satan or Mr. Satan, but you're still going to lose to somebody who's average at playing Ultimate Instinct Goku. That's just the way it is. And so, like, you've got to work a lot harder. And so all of the Mr. Satans and all of the, you know, Master Roshis out there, they're not able to rank up anymore. They're not able to do anything because those brackets aren't giving you any points. Yeah, the Yamchas, exactly. And I'm just being real. And so that's what's happening, is that people that are down on those levels, they don't know what the hell to do. Because, like, they can't go and get a job like their grandfather did. They can't go and do that. And, you know, what are they going to do with their life? I have no idea. How much of this is the fault of the family and the parents? I think it's absolutely a huge fault of the family and the parents. I actually think that it is and this is a really contentious topic. Let me link you guys to the video because this is a great video. Make sure to give it a like.
Yeah, of course, I'll do the same. I felt quite connected to this topic. It's kind of why it was out of the blue. Why I wasn't going to react. I kind of come away from YouTube a little bit, but I wasn't going to react. But because I personally can connect heavily on this video, this topic of video, and it's interesting, like I said at the beginning, to know and hear and feel what it's like for an American. So because I can connect to the video personally, I feel like maybe my input from a different country can, like, express how it is here. Because it's not just one place in the world where it's happening. It's happening all over the fucking world. You know what I mean? It's happening all over the place. It's happening to everyone. But again, links and stuff will be in the description of the original video. Also Asmongold, and also the original video anyway. But yeah, I know this video is gonna be a long one. I don't edit my videos because I feel like it's taking away the pureness of it, because, you know what I mean.
Like, this is amazing. I wanted to watch it like for 2 weeks. I was like banned. I didn't get a chance to. I think that there is a lack of spiritualism, and the way that spiritualism reinforces a sense of belonging inside of a society. And that lack of spiritualism has caused people to divorce themselves from any degree of accountability to anything greater than themselves. You know, it's basically been like hedonism on steroids. And I think that's what's happened a lot. And obviously, like, and that's why you see a lot of guys, I think right now, like, this is like, maybe I'm like talking out of my ass. Like, you know, correct me if I'm wrong if you're seeing it the same way I am. I think this is why you see a lot of young guys, especially with Islam, but also with Christianity, going back to religion. Is because, like, I think that religion and having some sort of, like,
foundation. Having something they know is there. And it's a starting point again. I think that's what he's trying to say. Which, yeah, is correct. Because, but from my point of view, some people that I know aren't anything to do with religion. And it's more about mentality. It's more about yourself and finding that way of taking the small steps leading to bigger steps in life, and knowing that not everyone's a bottom feeder. There is sharks above the bottom fish of the ocean. You know what I mean? And it's those big sharks that go places. And it's the big sharks that everyone sees. So whether you're a small fish in a big pond, you still get seen.
You know, foundational ideal system is, it's almost like a lot of those old Abrahamic religions are in a lot of ways. I had a friend of mine that was like, you know, religious, tell me, are like almost like the antidote for like modern politics and modern life. And I think that's why you see a lot of men now that are like going back to Islam, right? They're going back to Christianity. They're thinking about it. El take? No, I don't think it's an El take. I think this is an observation. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm saying this is the observation, and I think that's why the behavior is occurring. Maybe you don't think that it's occurring. I think that it is. So yeah.
Oh, it's occurring. It's happening, but it's happening so fucking quietly. It's why people don't think it's a big as a issue as it is, because so many people are quiet about it.
I've considered it. Yeah, no doubt. Korean Jesus died for your sins. Koreans actually recently had a big protest against gay marriage. Because I just heard Japan ratified gay marriage based off of their Supreme Court. Incredible, great, you know, good for them, awesome. But yeah, Korea is still, still trying to fight against it. But Korea is, in my understanding, is a lot more religious. So yeah, Koreans are running right. Yeah, something like that. Sense of community and aid to fellow people will draw in more people to religion. Yes, exactly. And I think that people are missing that, and they look to find that in religion. And I think that religion is baked into the culture. Like, religion and culture, I think, are like one and the same, right? It's not like the exact same, but there is one informs the other, and I think also vice versa. So yeah.
Yeah.
Young guys dating older.
So, wow, what a video! I'm glad. I am glad I reacted to it. I hope Asmongold doesn't have a problem. If he does, do what he needs to do. But like I said multiple times in the video, I personally feel like I can connect and I can comment on a lot of stuff because my past and stuff, blah blah blah. But it's interesting to see it from a different perspective of someone else in a different country. But as a whole, I think we're kind of on the same page. But as a whole, it's a big problem. It's a massive problem, and I feel more people need to try and speak up. As hard as it can be, there is people out there that will listen, and as a matter of fact, sometimes all it can take is just that one person just to listen, so it feels like you're never like alone. But like I've said, the links of videos will be in the description. Like obviously subscribe to Asmongold. I think the other video was
Men are slowly giving up and nobody...
To Moon. Subscribe to Moon, like the video. A massive shout out to them for making the video. I'm just trying to pay my respects due to the channels that made the video, and obviously for Asmongold as well. Yeah, massive shout out to those guys, especially trying to make aware that you don't have to be quiet anymore. You know what I mean? Mental health, men, women, kids. Unfortunately, it's a big thing. So subscribe to those guys.